Hi, David.
You didn't wait for the countdown, you jerk.
Hi, David.
You're getting better at batting your eyes.
Are your technicians adequately trained for the future of the industry? With information and technology rapidly evolving, it's more important than ever to have your techs stay ahead of the curve, which is why the teams at the Institute and iSCAN by Autoland created the iSCAN Technical Training Conference, which is returning in May right here in Ogden, Utah. ITTC 2023 is going to be even bigger than last year's inaugural event, with an additional day of training so that technicians walk away with more information. Attendees will learn alongside other technicians from all across the country, with plenty of time to network and exchange ideas in between. You don't want to miss out on everything that the iSCAN Technical Training Conference has to offer. Register online now so that you can be a part of one of the best technical events of 2023. We'll see you guys at ITTC 2023.
What's the census on holding a job for someone working a 2-week notice? If you hire an applicant that needs to work a 2-week notice, do you wait the 2 weeks for them, or do you hire someone you can get sooner to do the same job? I've always seen it as a good sign if they want to work a notice at their current job. However, twice recently, I've hired someone, waited for their 2-week notice, and then they didn't show up. I can't possibly do this with every hire. So do I hire only people that can start sooner, or am I the bad guy for hiring them and then while waiting the 2 weeks hiring someone in their place? What are your thoughts?
That's a conundrum, right? Because
no, it's not. What?
It's a conundrum because
this real quick. You prevent ghosting. You prevent ghosting by giving them the verbiage that they need to put in their notice. You tell them, this is what you tell your current employer.
Okay.
And then you call them every day until they're in your shop. Every single day. There's a text message or a phone call or an email. There's back and forth, Facebook Messenger, doesn't matter. You need to have some kind of communication. The day you don't get a text back, that person's going to ghost you. That's it. But you have to give them the verbiage, because most of the time, they're anxious about giving their notice.
Okay.
And so they'll give the sudden notice and then bail.
What's the verbiage?
What's that?
What's the verbiage?
Well, it just depends on the person. Depends on the person.
Okay.
You're going to give you notice, hey, I got another opportunity that I can't pass up. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to give you my notice. And then you tell them, do I need to finish out the 2 weeks? Or can I leave without any repercussions? Can I leave by the end of this week? Can I finish the car that I'm working on and then move on?
Well, okay, so you enter the reason why I call it a conundrum. Okay?
Okay.
You know, and I don't want to throw shade, but in the past little bit, I've had 2 scenarios where adjustments had to be made, right? In both of those scenarios...
What the hell does that mean? That is the most corporate, adjustments? You have to fire somebody?
In both of those scenarios, they weren't fired. We came to
we separated our ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in both cases, there was opportunity to leave before the 2 weeks was up. Okay. Now, conventionally, my thought has been, if someone is leaving an employer and they give a 2 week and that employer says, you know what, you just go right on. Could you need help moving your stuff? Boys, that's a sign. You know what I'm saying?
Not always. Here's the thing. So I just had someone put their notice in, in the cheesiest way possible. I'm throwing shade. I did tease him endlessly, but the cheesiest way, he sends me this email that he's moving on in his career, some BS like that. It's like, dude, what are we doing here? Yeah, I'm not in some corporate office that you need to send me this kind of BS. Why don't you just walk up to me and look me in the face and say, hey, dude, I got to move on. It's like, okay, I'm not going to hold it against you. I understand. Right. Things happen.
Yeah,
right?
You are. I mean, I think we all know you, whether you say you will or not. We've all known you for a long time.
I endlessly tease this guy. So, yeah, I mean, he was probably going to move on regardless.
Scott comes in once a week and he's like, did David really mean it when he called me a quitter?
Yes, I did. Scott, you are a quitter. Quitter. Anyway. He finished that, like, he did a half day. So he put his notice in over the weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
He emails me. And then I text him. I'm like, what the hell is this? He's like, yeah, sorry, man. I got this other job. And it's like, okay, well, fine, whatever. And then Monday he comes in.
Okay.
And then, I had a conversation with everybody on my staff.
Okay.
And he comes in and I said, hey, let's finish out these inspections and then you can go home. Like, you can go. And he's like, oh, really? It's like, yeah. We were a little slow that day and, like, we need to move on.
Yeah.
I can't have him working
I'm in
on
agreement.
like what I can't give him any cars that'll take any amount of time. I don't know how much effort he's going to put in. They're not that I think he would subvert, but I think in the back of your mind, like,
you've already checked out. You're ready to.
Yeah, unconsciously you've checked out.
Yeah.
This isn't where you work anymore, and so you don't care that much.
Yeah.
It's just human nature. There's no way around it. And so knowing that, all of a sudden you're apprehensive giving them a car. Because you just, hey, are they going to make sure they're going to torque the wheels down? Are they going to double and triple check all their work? Like, you don't know.
I agree.
And that seed of doubt is going to cause you to this perfectly good employee, this fantastic person that you absolutely loved having in your shop. All of a sudden, you're like, they got to go. They can't be in my shop.
But when they were already doing that in the first place, when there was already a problem in the first place, and the other employer says, hey, and I agree with you. My strategy would be, no, I don't need a 2 week. You're good. Roll on. Right? That would be my strategy.
And the 2 week thing is arbitrary. It's entirely made up.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
now,
just something that's
if it's my lead tech, if it's one of the guys I'm super close with, I think it's a common courtesy. I think they should give a 2 week, no doubt. Right? I think it's a common courtesy in case that shop's in a spot. The shop should not be in a spot that losing an employee is going to hurt them to that degree. The shop shouldn't be like that, but a lot of shops are.
Hold on now. You can't. If you're a small shop, you're the service advisor. You have 2 techs.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you just lost 50% of your production. Dude, that's
going to hurt no matter what.
That's
I agree.
Crippling. Okay.
But you should never be in a spot where you don't know something's coming. Is what I'm trying to get at here.
Yes.
You should never be in a spot. You should be feeling the fact, hey, something's
happening. Something's going on. Yes. Yeah,
absolutely. I told you about one of my employees leaving months, like 4 months before it happened, and was like, hey, something's off here. I'm just saying something's off. What do you think? We talked about it. I'd been talking to my wife. Something's not right. Something's not okay. And so, like, you should know there's signs, there's symptoms. There's precursors.
There's signs and symptoms, yes. Typically. Not always, but 90% of the time, if you got a good sense of what's going on. But that doesn't solve this guy's problem. Bit. Maybe. I was a little blindsided by the guy putting his notice in. I don't think he was looking hard. I think it was probably introduced to him that, hey, you need to start looking for a different job.
Yeah, but anyway. How long you and I had discussed that no fewer than 3 or 4 times that we said, look, you're going to run this dude off picking on him like that. Right? Maybe we didn't say it like that, but we knew you had gone alpha male on him. Right? You saw he was weak. You saw he was.
No. That is not
you
at all.
Absolutely
no.
Did. You went in for the kill, man. You went in for the kill.
You
saw that he was making.
He needed some guidance, and I was happy to provide it to him in the form of endless teasing. And so he was in a conundrum. He's like, either I got to leave this and not get teased anymore, or I got to make some changes. And those changes would have been really difficult. So I understand why he left. But
regardless, back to the subject at hand, right? I think you're right.
That guy, if he gives the verbiage, a couple things. One, if you want your employees to give notice, the hey, it's just commonly understood that you give notice. F that noise. There isn't anything commonly understood. It's business. Put it in your policy manual as when you get hired on. Hey, I'm just letting you know that part of working here is that you give me a 30-day notice. Okay. And that if you leave before that 30-day notice, any built up benefits, this, that, and the other, whatever, you it will be considered job abandonment if you just up and leave inside that 30-day notice. They'll give me a full 30-day notice. Now, you put that into the policy manual, and that's part of when they get hired. They sign that, and everybody understands. Now there's no questions like, oh, that guy just bailed on me. Because a lot of the comments on this Facebook post said, if they're going to fire me, they don't give me 2-week notice. They just fire me. One day I come in, and the next day I don't have a job. And so I'm going to do the same thing to them. When I'm ready to quit, I just quit. Screw the 2-week notice. Now, I understand that 100%. It's tit for tat. I get that.
Yeah.
But that's why you put it in the policy manual. You say it's a minimum 30-day notice. Now, it doesn't mean that I won't let you go before those 30 days, but just understand that I can't lose 50% of my production overnight, and all of a sudden I'm scrambling with all these cars sitting in the parking lot. That's why I need to have the 30-day notice. And so that clears that portion of it up.
Yeah.
And then as far as like the him having to wait, if you give that verbiage to the employee, to your new employee, say, hey, when are you going to give notice? Now, you don't have to pressure them. A lot of employees like to give notice on Fridays. I don't know why, but they do. So you say, hey, are you comfortable giving your notice tomorrow? And they're like, well, I don't know if my boss is going to be in, this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, when is he going to be in? You've got to lay this all out and say, oh, he'll be in on Thursday. So, okay, this is what you're going to say to them.
Yep.
Now, here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to come back to you, and they're either going to let you go immediately, in which case you call me, and I will have a tow truck down there for your toolbox. That eases their mind.
Yeah.
Doesn't put anything up in the air like, I don't know what I'm going to do, and I got to find a trailer and all this. No, that nonsense is gone. I will have a tow truck there to pick up your toolbox, and I will have you in here working tomorrow. So, and that's the other thing too. You can tell them about paychecks. Be like, hey, we get paid every Friday here, but if you need extra money to float you until the next paycheck, we'll talk about that, and I can give you an advance. Again, you're trying to ease their mind entirely to make the transition as smooth as possible, right? Yeah. So you have that conversation, and you say, hey, you're going to go to them, you're going to give them the 2-week notice or the notice, you're going to ask to leave early. Ask them to leave early. Don't give up any benefits or any PTO that you might have saved up or whatever. Don't give that up. But if they'll let you go early, then leave. I will get the toolbox or the tow truck down there to pick up your toolbox. Now, if they let you go early, call me. If they say, no, we need you to work the 2 weeks, call me and let me know, and I will make sure that I'm ready for you in the 2 weeks, and we'll set a date for me to go pick up that toolbox.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, too, is, and I forgot the other thing. Oh, they're going to come back with pay. They're going to come back with pay. They're going to say, oh, okay, that's so sad.
If they want you to stay.
Yes. If they want you to stay, they're going to come back to you and they're going to offer you some ridiculous amount of money.
If they forced you out, that's a good sign right there when they don't come back with pay that you might have been the problem.
No. Not necessarily.
Might. You heard I said might. I'm not saying they were. I'm saying if they don't give you an opportunity, they might think that you could have been part of the problem. Doesn't mean it's real. Doesn't mean they're right. Just means that they might think that you're part of the problem.
If it's a small shop, maybe, but if it's a bigger like corporate type of place,
yeah, that's true.
Like you're working at a Firestone, you hire somebody from a Firestone, you put a 2-week notice, and it's whatever. Now the general manager might come down and say, "Hey, we're losing Bobby, and Bobby's our only diagnostic tech, and Bobby's going to this independent repair shop," and the general manager might walk in, or the area manager, whatever they call them in Firestone land. It might come back and say, hey, what are they offering you? Well, I'm making 30 here. They're offering me 35 an hour there, but it's salary. They might come back with some ridiculous offer and go, hey, we're going to keep you a flat rate, but it's going to be a 42 an hour.
Yeah.
And at that point, now he's like, oh, shit. Well, I might stay now. That's a lot of money, right? They're giving me a huge bump. But that's why you have to tell the employee, you have to tell them. They might come back to you with some ridiculous offer.
Yep.
Before you say yes. Well, no, it's before you say yes. You call me first. We have a conversation because I want to make sure that we contextualize all of it. Because at the end of the day, if you are worth that much more money, now you don't have to tell this up front, but in the subsequent conversation, I'm telling them that. If you are actually worth that much, why haven't they been paying you that much this whole time?
Yep.
In other words, you have been working there, what, 2, 5, 10, 15 years, underpaid that entire time. They knew you were underpaid, and they had the money to pay you more, and they didn't. Is that where you want to stay? I see your value. Your value is this. That's why I offered you my best offer up front. I'm not trying to play around with $30 here, $50, whatever. I'm not playing with that game. I made you my best offer up front because I see the value in you. They obviously didn't. They were underpaying you this whole time. And now that you're trying to leave, now they're trying to offer you extra money. That's some BS. That's what I would tell them.
Well, and how many times have they gone and offered more money and not met their end of the deal? I'll give you a bonus on this. We'll do this. We'll build this in, but it never actually happens. And so
things will change. That's what they'll say.
Right.
We'll change things up. We'll get you better cars. We'll give you if they're on flat rate, they're like, we're going to try to give you some more gravy work and this, that, and the other. And then what ends up happening? 2-3 weeks, a month, 2 months later, everything that was making them unhappy at that current place is still there. And then you get the phone call going, "Hey man, I made a mistake staying."
Yeah,
like,
and listen, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing to think about is when this happens. Right? Like if you're the new employer, when this happens, the minute they stop answering the telephone, you better be looking for somebody else. Right? Yeah. If they stop answering your calls and text messages, they're not responding at all in one day, I'm already looking for somebody else, man. You don't do that to me. Right? And
24 hours, that's it.
I set that up front. I say, listen, if you don't communicate with me for any 24-hour period, I am going to assume that you have changed your mind. I will hire someone else. I have a bench. Yeah. I have people waiting to be hired. You need to know if you don't respond to me for 24 hours, not trying to set unrealistic expectations, but I have to fill this position. This is not optional. This is mandatory for my business. It's just a business thing. I just want you to know up front, this is what I'm going to be doing. And the boys, the minute. And I think by doing what you're saying and then putting that in place, if they change their mind, they'll call you and say, "Hey man, I've changed my mind." Whereas otherwise, a lot of them are just ghosting and saying, it'll be okay. Right?
Yeah.
They don't.
Well, they're ghosting because it's an uncomfortable conversation to be like, "Hey, I told you we shook hands on this, but now I'm trying to backtrack." And they're going to feel like crap doing it. And they should feel like crap doing it. But that's why I tell them, look, if they come back with you with some ridiculous offer, more pay, better benefits, better car count, whatever, doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. You call me first before you say anything. And I want you here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be hiring you. I want you here. And I want to make sure that we put everything out in the open and that we come to an agreement, because at the end of the day, I want you here. And if they understand that and they get a big offer, they're going to call.
And they're going to call. Shop owners need to understand something about this. There are a lot of techs who are going shop to shop to shop right now, asking for a job and using that job offer or your offer letter to get leverage somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so
you know what? I don't begrudge them that.
No.
I don't begrudge them that. Sometimes you need to know your market value. Mm-hmm. And so I have zero problems with a technician answering a help wanted with no intention of actually jumping ship. But they just want leverage for the conversation. Now, you as an employer, you want to try to remove that possibility. Going, hey, I don't want them looking at all. And so the only reason why they're looking is because I've created something in the environment that they're unhappy with. And then now all of a sudden that's putting a worm in their ear, and they're going out and going, well, maybe I could make a little bit more money over at this other place. Maybe I could get better hours. Maybe I could get better cars. Yep. Maybe I could ... add in whatever, which is why when we talk about this stuff, we say, make the technician whole. What is it that they're needing?
Yep,
right?
Absolutely. Fit their needs. Good job, David. All right. Explained it beautifully.
Hey.